powerful enough. Although God can grant us power.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just give me a minute here, just getting everything together. Just give me a minute here. We're just trying to make sure our stream and everything comes through okay. Just kind of want to make sure. Welcome to It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach with your host, Sister A. LeGree. It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach, providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith. I hope you guys, everybody can see me well. Well, today is Saturday, September the 11th, and I titled this broadcast, Another One, Same Pattern. Another One, Same Pattern. If you are here in the United States, you've been, hearing the news. We had another school shooting. We had another school shooting, so our prayers go out to the families, friends, everyone involved with that situation, the first responders, the police, everyone. Our heart goes out. But I wanted to spend this broadcast talking about some of the early warning signs of mental illness. And I entitled this as Another One, the Same Pattern. I think when something happens like this, we always have questions about why, what happened, what could we have done differently. There's some people say, oh, we got to get rid of the guns. But when you look at it, there are a whole bunch of kids, I don't know the number, who hunt, a lot of kids who do have guns and who are not going out shooting the schools. So it's not the gun itself. There's something else. There's something else that's going on that we have to pay attention to. What I wanted to do was share some of the early warning signs of mental illness, just to share it with you, to have a conversation around it, and to encourage you, if you have any questions or you need more information or you're concerned, to reach out to someone in your area to say, hey, this is what's going on with me, this is what's going on with my child, and have that conversation. Because I wrote some notes with that young man, the latest school shooter. It was only his second day of school. His first day, he was having some anxiety, and he had spoken to a school counselor and left early. Prior to that, there was some anonymous tips saying that he indicated that he would in fact shoot up a school. The officials went out to speak with him. They did their interview. The father assured the interviewers that his son didn't have or would not have access to a gun. Unfortunately, the father went out and purchased the gun for his son. And then now we see what happens. First of all, before I go any further, let me say this. I've been hearing this in the news. Having a mental illness doesn't excuse you from behaviors, right? Because mental illnesses we're talking about are diagnosable disorders. We're talking about illnesses that can be treated. Just like having diabetes or having hypertension wouldn't necessarily excuse you. Having a mental illness is not the issue. Whether it's diagnosable or some people, I'm not saying that he did have a mental illness. I'm just saying that some of the conversations that have been coming up, and he talked about anxiety the day before. So I just wanted to say that. But I think anytime we have the conversation, when something happens, and we start having the conversation about the mental illness, people will say, oh, that's not mental illness. People with mental illness don't do that, da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, actually, people with untreated mental illnesses may do a lot of things. Having the illness is not the issue. It's that whether you get treatment or not getting treatment. People with untreated mental illnesses, especially if drugs are involved, are unpredictable. And that's data on that. But we're not talking about competency, right? Competency is different. A person can have a mental illness and be diagnosed with a mental illness and still be competent to stand trial. Competency is different. So I just wanted to share that because I hear a lot of people are using mental illness as an excuse. No, nobody's using mental illness as an excuse. Just like you would, if you were to ask, okay, tell me about the person who did this, right? You would tell them, okay, he's 5'6", he's short, he's tall, he's black, white. You would give descriptives, right? That's kind of what we do here. Part of his description is someone who's dealing with anxiety, someone who may or may not have had a diagnosable mental illness, whatever it is, right? That's just part of who he is. That doesn't excuse him. So again, just because a person has a mental illness doesn't mean that they're incompetent. They're two separate things. There are a lot of people who are living with mental illnesses who are treated for their mental illnesses. There are a lot of people who are living with a mental illness who are not treating their illnesses, but they are competent. So it doesn't, those are two separate things. But I wanted to share this. It's important. I want to share some warning signs, right? And these warning signs are coming from SAMHSA. And I shared this last week, this SAMHSA website. I'm not actually going to read it again, share it like I did last time because it didn't work out. So I'm just going to read it to you. Some early warning signs and symptoms. Not sure if you or someone you know is living with mental health problems. Experiencing one or more of the following feelings or behaviors can be an early warning sign of a problem. Again, what I'm going to read to you is that these can be an early warning signs of a problem. Just because a person has some of these warning signs doesn't mean that they have a problem. And one of the things that you'll find when you look at some of the government websites, they use the term mental health problem. Mental health problem is different from, let's say, a diagnosable mental illness, right? Mental health problem is like a broad term. It can mean anything in there. So basically what they're saying, a person can have, be sad, but not be diagnosed with depression, right? A person may be anxious, but they may not have an anxiety disorder. So I just wanted to make that distinction. One of the things that came up, it said, if you're, reference to the father, why would he buy his son a gun knowing some of the problems that his son was having? His father mentioned that his son was being bullied. Again, a lot of kids are being bullied. They don't go buy a gun and blow up the school, right? When you look at the number of kids that are doing this, who are going to school with guns and killing, is minute in comparison to the number of kids who are not doing that. So I just want to say this is not all of our kids. All of the majority of our kids are finding a way to manage their emotions, to deal with what's going on with them without resorting to those extreme measures. But I wanted to answer a question that I saw, is why did the dad go out and buy himself a gun? Here is what happens. Let me answer this question with an example. Have you ever had a friend that you grew up with, right? A friend that you grew up with, you knew that, he was just a little different. She was a little different, but they were your friend. You knew they were, you may use terms like a little special, they may be off. You just know there was something going on with your friend, but it didn't matter. It was your friend, you're used to them. They may be a little slow to catch the joke, they may be a little slow to catch on to certain things, but you know that. This is your friend, right? No big deal. Your friend, your friend knows you, everything is fine. Your friend, let's say, goes away to college or goes away into a different environment, and your friend starts having problems, and people will say, oh, he was fine until he went away to the military. She was fine until she went to school, or she was fine until she got around, these different people. What it is that your friend, because they were in an environment that they were familiar with, everybody was used to them. It was no big thing. Your friends were used to you, and you were used to your friends. But when they go into a different environment, it's the people there don't know them, right? They don't know them. It's stressful. So when your friend starts undergoing, stress, feeling anxious, feeling worried, then you start seeing their symptoms because now they're in a different environment. When they were with you in a safe environment or an environment that they were used to, they knew how to manage the stress. There was no stress. But now they're in the military, now they're in school, now they're in a different neighborhood around other people with different expectations, people who don't know them, then we start seeing stress. And this is what we we do call the stress vulnerability model. Like a person may be right on the edge, right, of, mental illness, right on the edge, and they're fine. But there's a stressor that will come that will I don't know which way I want to go, a stressor that will come that will push them off of the edge, so to speak. Like they're here, but a stressor will come and kind of knock them down. As long as they're in that safe environment, they can manage the stress. But going away to school, going away to college, those new experiences cause stress for them when you start seeing the symptoms that you may not have noticed or you may have been used to. So with his father, the father was probably used to his son. He's used to how his son behaves, right? It's not anything different for him. His son behaves this way, or he acts this way, or this is the way he is, and we just kind of get used to it. He probably just got used to his son and didn't really take it seriously, right? It may, as he should have, but he didn't take it seriously. But a lot of parents do that. A lot of us do that. It's your kid, they'll be fine. You don't take it seriously. You don't want to label your kid, right? A lot of people, I don't want to label my kid, so you don't get them help. You don't want people to know what's going on. So there could have been a lot of reasons why the dad felt it was okay to buy his son a gun, even though he was like on the watch list, so to speak. So anyway, I wanted to share that. Early warning signs and symptoms. Eating or sleeping too much or too little. One of the things I like to point out to people when we start having this discussion is the word change. 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 That's the big thing. People will say, oh, well, I always sleep a lot. Okay, well, we're not talking about you, right? But if you all of a sudden started not sleeping a lot, then that will be a change. So always pay attention to the word change, right? Eating, sleeping too much or too little. Pulling away from people and usual activities. You used to go out and like going dancing. Now you don't really want to go dancing anymore. You used to, like I said, sleep a lot or sleep very little. Now you're sleeping, let's say you're sleeping all the time when you didn't used to do that before. Sleep for some people is a way to withdraw, right? You're withdrawing. Someone told me one time and said, sleep, it just gives them an opportunity not to think about the things that's going on in their lives. So they sleep all the time. So eating or sleeping too much or too little. Pulling away, because too little could indicate some mania, right? Bipolar 1, bipolar 2. Pulling away from people and usual activities. Isolation. What are you doing when you're isolating? When you're isolating, you are alone with your own thoughts. And depending on what your thoughts are like, that can be good or bad. Because if your thoughts are thoughts like you're stupid, no one likes you, people are out to get you, then those thoughts won't be helpful to you. So again, pulling away from people and usual activities, it's the isolation that's the problem. It's the isolation. People will say, oh, I don't like being around people, da 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 da. But how is that? Take a look at that behavior of not being around, your desire to not want to be around other people. How is that serving you? Is it serving you well in the long term or just the short term, right? How are you in other areas of your life, right? Or do you think that all people are out to get you? Do you think that the world is so unsafe, right? It's not pretty much what we do, it's the why behind it. If why we're doing a certain behavior is because it's from pain, it's from trauma, it's out of fear, then that's a problem. That behavior is a problem that we need to kind of take a look at. But again, let me stick to my early warning signs and symptoms. You can see this on our website, but I'm taking this from SAMHSA, SAMHSA.gov. Eating or sleeping too much or too little. Pulling away from people and usual activities. Having low or no energy. Feeling numb or like nothing matters. Sometimes you've gone through so many things that it doesn't even matter anymore, right? One more person got shot in the neighborhood. This is like the 10th person that got killed this month. You're just numb to it. Having unexplained aches and pains. Feeling helpless or hopeless. Smoking, drinking, or using drugs more than usual. Feeling unusually confused, forgetful, on edge, angry, upset, worried, or scared. Feeling unusually confused, forgetful, on edge, angry, upset, worried, or scared. Yelling or fighting with family and friends. Experiencing severe mood swings that cause problems in relationships. Having persistent thoughts and memories that you can't get out of your head. Hearing voices or believing things that are not true. Thinking of harming yourself or others. Inability to perform daily tasks like taking care of your kids, for example. And then in youth, some of the problems that you may see, similar. Problems with concentration, memory, ability to think clearly, changes in appetite. Again, changes in appetite, feeling sad, empty, worthless, hopeless, loss of interest in things they used to do. You used to like playing ball. You used to like going out to the gym. Excessive worry, inability or restlessness, changes in sleep, angry outbursts, not wanting to be around people or take part in activities. That isolation is a big thing. Hearing or seeing things that other people don't, extreme panic, onset of new behaviors or rituals that are repeated, mood swings or frequent shifts in energy, changes in how your child dresses. Okay, does it fit? Is your child wearing long pants or sleeves in hot weather, or hats all of a sudden? Okay, it could be something going on. So again, these are just some early warning signs and symptoms that you want to pay attention to, whether it's you, yourself, or your child. When you start seeing these symptoms, you want to have a conversation with your child if you can. You want to have a conversation. You want to find out, hey, kind of what's going on, right? Hey, just going up to them and say, hey, I'm noticing 1, 2, or 3. I'm noticing that you're sleeping a lot. Is everything okay? What can we do? Have a conversation. If you don't feel comfortable in having the conversation, you can always call 988 to get some more support, to get some more advice, right? But these are just some early warning signs to let you know some things may be different. Some things may be changing. You know, being a parent is hard. And you got a lot of parents, you have a lot of things going on. You got to work, you got school yourself, you got a lot of stuff going on. But don't forget your children. Don't forget the child that you brought into this world. This is your child, right? You want to have a relationship. You don't want to wait until they get to be teenagers or high school before they, when they start having problems. You want to have that relationship with them. So if there's something going on, they will tell you, or you can talk with them. But again, when we look at this young man here most recently, we can see possibly some of the warning signs based on what we've been hearing. One of the things I also want to point out, when there's a saying was that hurt people hurt people, when we're not feeling good on the inside, right, there's a tendency to lash out at others. You see it, young people, adults do the same thing. You ever see people on the internet who, like for example, I saw this one person, she had made her husband a meal. She clearly said it was for his birthday, and she made him like a steak. It was a breakfast. I think it was a steak and some eggs, right? Clearly said, this is for my husband's birthday is why I'm doing this, right? So we started out with the wonderful comments. I was really impressed with the eggs because I can never get my eggs to look that fluffy, but her eggs were really nice, the steak was nice. But then you start seeing the comments, oh, he gonna leave you anyway. Why are you doing all of that? What is he doing for you? Now again, the lady clearly said it was for his birthday. We don't know anything about these people, but we start getting all these negative comments. People have a tendency to project their negativity, to project their pain, project their hurt out on other people, right? Because in your life, my life is not going well, and your life is, I got to say something to kind of downgrade you. Well, who do you think she is? Who cares? Well, I didn't grow up without a father, and I'm fine. I didn't grow up without parents, I'm fine. You have to project your hurt, your pain, your stuff or negativity on other people. I bring that up to say, when we talk about children in a school shooting, or children is acting out, they're acting out for help, right? These are people have something that I don't have. I'm unhappy. I'm unhappy. They have something I don't have. That I want, and I'm going to react this way. Adults do the same thing. Adults, they react by bullying. Adults bully as well. Adults bully other adults. You see it all the time. Adults will start bullying. They will start downgrading. They will start, saying things about people on the internet because they're not happy on the inside. So what am I saying? When you have conversations with your children, you want to talk to them not just about these here, but just life in general. Right? Where you see your life going? What are your plans? What do you want to do in life? Have that conversation with them. But again, when we talk about just some of the early warning signs and symptoms, it's important to pay attention to not just your mental health, but your child's mental health. Because again, when we have the school shooting, we're seeing the same pattern, right? And of course, the gun, not just the gun, but it's the same pattern. The same type of child. The child, we've seen anxiety, you've seen depression, you've seen untreated mental illnesses, you've seen something that's going on with that child, all right? You've seen parenting that's not, what's the word? Distracted parents. You know, we're seeing the same type of patterns. So again, what I'm saying to you is number one, have the conversation with your child. Two, have conversation with yourself. Pay attention to your own mental health, to the mental health of your child. Again, pay attention to the early warning signs and symptoms. Get to know what they are. Get to know what the resources are in your area. Don't minimize what you see, right? Don't minimize. Sometimes the teacher will tell the parent, hey, I'm noticing this with your child, and the parent, instead of listening to the teacher, you get offended, you get angry, right? Don't do that. Listen to what people are saying. I'm not saying that you have to take it 100%, but listen to what they're saying and get your child help. Get yourself help. Pay attention to changes. That's the big thing. When you look at all of these, it goes back to a change. And I'm going to read it again. Early warning signs and symptoms. Eating or sleeping too much or too little. Pulling away from people and usual activities. Having low or no energy. Feeling numb or like nothing matters. Having unexplained aches and pains. Feeling helpless or hopeless. Smoking, drinking, or using drugs more than usual. Feeling unusually confused, forgetful, on edge, angry, upset, worried, or scared. Yelling or fighting with family and friends. Severe mood swings that cause problems in relationships. Persistent thoughts and memories that you can't get out of your head. Hearing voices or believing things that are not true. Thinking of harming yourself or others. Inability to perform daily tasks. Specifically when we're talking about youth or children. Problems with concentration, memory, or ability to think clearly. Changes in appetite. Feeling sad, empty, hopeless, or worthless. Loss of interest in things that they used to enjoy, they no longer. Excessive worry. Inability or restlessness. Changes in sleep. Angry outbursts. Not wanting to be around people or take part in activities. Hearing or seeing things that other people don't. Extreme panic. Mood swings or frequent shifts in energy. Again, just because you start seeing some of these symptoms in your child or in yourself doesn't mean that you have a mental illness. It just means that it's a sign that something needs to be checked out. You may need to talk to someone. That someone doesn't necessarily have to be a counselor or a therapist. It could be talking to a friend. It could be talking to a pastor. Talking to someone where you can kind of talk out kind of what's going on with you. A lot of us are under stress. You know, one of the benefits or whatever. You know, I hear people say, oh, I don't need people. I don't want to be around people. I can do it by myself. My mother was a single parent. My father was a single parent. And we take pride in those types of things, which is great. But do you think you ever thought about the stress that it caused, the strain that it caused? Whenever you have to do everything by yourself, whenever you're alone, that's an added stress, right? So a lot of people are under stress in the United States. A lot of us are. Stress that we take on because we think it's a good thing to be. We're proud of being independent. We're proud of being the Lone Ranger and not taking a look at the impact that it has on our mental illness, the impact that it has on our mental health. We can't shut down. Your mind just keeps going and going and going. So I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do that. And some of this we brought upon ourselves. But again, that's another topic for another time. I just wanted to share some early warning signs and symptoms and let you know that there is help out there. There is support out there. 988 is always, it's just easy to go to. If you don't want to call that, you call your local mental health agency wherever you live at. You can log on to our website at igbattmho.org. We have a link there where you can click on where you can get the support and the help that you need. Again, igbattmho.org. This has been It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach, providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith. Log on to our website. Send us an email, igbatt1@aol.com. we will talk with you later. Again, our prayers will continue to go out to the family member. God bless you.